What's up, guys? So today I just wanted to do like a little video of the grow rag just as is today. You notice that the eggplants are starting to get little leaves coming out of the center, which is awesome. And if you look real closely at most of the pepper plants, they do have it going on too. And Pepin's golden honey are a little purple like, and also I got one of these California Wonders that are showing purple, which is cool. And basically we got all these other peppers. I'm actually really excited about these ones and all my jalapenos because I typically grow less hot peppers. That's just how I like them. You know, when you're growing in your garden, you want to grow stuff that you enjoy the most. You know, you're growing for yourself in the beginning of the day. And I love cucumbers. Family loves cucumbers, so I always grow enough cucumbers for us all. And that's going to be 12 cucumbers, which is actually a good amount. Honestly, I probably should do a whole nother row of them, but I'm just going to direct sow, so I'll have 12 that are growing indoors a little earlier, and then I'm going to direct sow a lot of seeds too, which that's just pretty much how you got to do it, because if you're trying to grow realistic amounts, it's kind of hard. And next year, I'm not going to have as many peppers on my grow rack, so I'm going to be growing them into the second year. You know, I'm going to take them and let them go dormant during the winter and bring them out and keep them containered. Learned a lot my first year about pepper plants that people don't really tell you about. Pepper plants are awesome. They're like little trees that produce like tons of beautiful peppers, and you know, growing them can be very rewarding because they produce a lot of crop, you know. And basically once you start your peppers one year, you can grow them for a couple seasons and then skip a couple seasons and then grow all new ones the next season, so that way on like the third or fourth year you have all replacements coming to join, and basically you can feel out your adults and also have locked in your next year so that like you kind of don't have a gap in between peppers. So that's cool. Next year I'm probably not going to be starting any unless I see a variety that I'm interested in, which I always come across stuff. I do want to do more eggplants, like one more row of eggplants. Well, just one more tray. And then next year, I think I'm going to do 2 trays or 3 trays of cucumbers. These are self-pollinating cucumbers, so you don't have to worry about in the early beginning stages of the year. Here in Pennsylvania, the bees don't come out as soon as your crops are ready to be pollinated. So you got to be kind of working with what you can do. And I mean, it's just how it is anymore. If I don't have a bee box, and I just don't know if I'm ever going to add one. I would like to, but I don't know. It's not on my priority. My priority is growing the best vegetables I can that have really high quality, and that's what I'm doing. Now, with all these squash, the Rise and Shine, the saffrons, and the Burpee's Best Zucchini. I grew the Burpee's Best Zucchini, did great. I'm gonna grow it again this year. The Rise and Shines are a variety that can grow vertically, which I'm excited about because I saw them at the Burpee Open last year, and the amount of squash that were going off them was crazy compared to what I got. So I was excited about that. Now, the saffrons I always grow because they're just like my original yellow squash that I started growing like many years ago, and I did that. Now on tomatoes, which these are all large tomatoes, and the large tomatoes are probably going to be these two 2 will be large. The larger the tomato, I notice the longer it takes for the germination to happen. And basically, large tomatoes are what I'm most excited to work with this season. I realize that I can't grow everything, so I'm gonna wrap it into I'm gonna target a few varieties of stuff and just exceed with it. And I got the pineapple pigs, which was like last year's favorite. Those things pushed. One of my favorites. I really like them, the vanilla creams. The super sweet 100s, the yellow pears. And there's still a couple others, but basically these will be large too after they all germinate, which I'm waiting on that. And I'm waiting on 8 bags of soil, and I'm also waiting on some markers because I kind of ran out. But they're all going to come in tomorrow, which I'm excited about because I just can't wait to see all my little plants just start popping out. And this is like what I look forward to doing with my life. I love working with plants. For some reason when I'm growing plants, I can get like vibrations off them almost that they like make me enlightened, and I feel like some sort of energy when I'm with plants. I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it just became part of my life. I've been growing plants for since I was a little kid. Both my grandfathers were into gardening. The one always grew cantaloupes, and that's why I have such a sweet spot for cantaloupes. I just always love them. I think they're probably one of my favorite melons. And my other grew squash and tomatoes pretty much, and his area was way bigger, and I used to spend a lot of time helping him with his projects. And I learned a lot and practically passed his green thumb to me, both my grandparents, because they both were growing stuff in their yard, which was crazy because nowadays if you're able to grow stuff in your yard, that's a privilege. So when you do it, take the time to do it right, and you'll get way more minerals and nutrients out of your crop. It takes a lot of money to get started on this stuff, so have a stepping stone of this year I'm going to do this and next year I'm going to do this, because you don't want to. I could have spent all my money and been at this step last year, but it's worth it because I had time to really think about things before I'm executing them, and you can see how well everything looks. Now, basically, for this year, I just have to keep up with everything. It's going to take a while. We got another 6 weeks here, 6 to 8 weeks, depending on how the weather is. And then I'm going to transplant them. And then once I transplant them out in 6 weeks, I'm going to start fertilizing. I might start fertilizing in the last 2 weeks of growing indoors. I haven't figured that out yet. Last year I didn't fertilize indoors, and I started fertilizing when they were outside. And it seemed to work really well. Because, there's really no point to fertilize younger plants, because a plant like this, if you're fertilizing 300 parts per million, something like this can only absorb 600. And if your water isn't refined, my water has 300 parts per million around, and that already takes up 300 when they digest the water. It's already filled 300, and a little plant like that can only absorb 600, so that leaves you with 300. But when these get bigger, they can absorb more nutrients, so that way you can work off your well water and make these plants adapt to your well water. Because realistically, if you're going to try and do this and you're doing all purified water and stuff, you're really going to get into a deeper wormhole. And it's kind of like a rule I go by is keep it simple, KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. If something's working, work with it, because I tried the RO machines about like 5 years ago for growing hydroponics and stuff, and I realized that I just like soil. I like soil. I like growing plants in soil. I don't know what it is. It's just how I am. And everybody's going to be different, and I'm sure the future is going to be reliant on growing with hydroponics, but basically I'm going to water these and basically keep checking on the seeds that didn't germinate, and we're going to go from there. But have a great day, and we'll check in on this next week.